Welcome back to a brand new episode of Buckets and Besties, your go-to podcast for all things WNBA and beyond the court. Of course, my name is Katia, and I'm here with my co-host.
And I'm Megan.
We have a lot to catch up on this week, so let's jump right into it. So we're going to tip it off with the highlights of the week. Meg, what's yours?
Ooh, I was thinking about this before I joined. I'd say my highlight was on Thursday. I went to a wedding with one of my friends. It was her coworker's wedding. It was a gay wedding, and it was like my first gay wedding. It was 2 rooms, and they were like the cutest thing ever, like the best first dance I've ever seen. It was in Philly. Energy was high. There was also like a robot dancing at the wedding, so that was a first. I'll say like energy was high from start to finish, so that was a lot of fun, and stayed over the night and just like had a good time with my friend, and we ventured out in Philly after the wedding. So just a lovely Thursday into Friday last week. What about you, Katia?
Oh, that's really nice. Honestly, I've just been on bed rest. I bruised my ankle last week, and it's great after coming off of that huge week of all the projects and stuff that I've been showing. So I've just been chilling. I've been resting as much as I can, being low on social media, and just enjoying my time being at home, just chilling. So that is my highlight for the week.
All right, a little low light, I guess they would say, but it only can go up from here. Your ankle's only going to feel better. All your other stuff is going to get better too. So, okay, so let's do the bestie breakdown. This is where we break down the top 5 stories. And even today, we have a little bonus story for you. So we're going to dive into the All-Star weekend. Just a little bit of a recap, not a full in-depth review. But how about that first? How about that 3-point contest? AZ Fudd walked away with the trophy during our first WNBA All-Star appearance.
And of course, we didn't expect anything less. AZ is known as one of the shooting gods. She's always been a high-level 3-point shooter. As we mentioned before in our last pod, she won a 3-point shooting contest against Steph Curry. She's very smooth, a repeatable shot once she gets into her zone. Even with the pressure moving between each rack, she looked very composed, like very in her nature. So I did not think I knew she was going to win that.
Yeah, she didn't look rushed at all. I know I picked Mabry, Jersey Zone. She let me down a little bit. But I'd say like once AZ found her rhythm, felt like every other shot was coming off her hand the exact same way. Like I think I said last week, she's almost like robotic, where it's like the same follow through, the same exact placement on the ball with her hands. It's kind of awesome to see. Just kind of a great example for kids growing up, so like how to shoot the ball and just that follow through and that pretty little flick of the wrist that she has.
Yeah, and that's the difference between like AZ Marina and also Bridget Carlton. AZ can adjust when she knows her shots aren't hitting if she's not getting into her head. And I think Marina, when it's not falling, she still does the same thing over again. So just seeing them, the best of the best 3-point shooters, go up against each other was very, very fun to watch. But honestly, AZ winning this competition really showed one of her All-Star welcome to the league moments, because no one could do it better than her.
Yeah, definitely the first WNBA rookie to win it, and then the first wing to win it. Do you think it gives her another level of confidence headed into the second half of the season?
I do think so, because we've talked about AZ and her opening up in the league, getting to know all these people, getting to play with a whole different team, play against different opponents that have been in the league for a while, and seeing AZ kind of just be in her natural element and see her just her and the ball and have all these people look at her. I think people know that she's a contender, and guard AZ can't leave her open. She's going to make that shot.
Can't give her any little space. Now, do you think, one last question on this one, do you think she ranks among the league's best 3-point shooters?
Oof. I don't want to be wrong here, but I think so. I think as a rookie, yes. I have to go back and look at who else.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's up there with the top. The only other names that come to mind, I think Saloon, that was in the 3-point contest. She's shooting over 40%, if I'm correct on that. Caitlin Clark is shooting in the low 30s. Everyone always thinks of her, but I want to say she's up there, like percentage wise. I know the start of the season, like she was almost like up there for 90% free throw shooting, 60 from the field. Like she was a 90, 50, 40, I think.
Damn.
So at the start of the season, at least, with like 50% field goal percentage and 40 from 3. So I want to say, yeah, when all said and done, end of the year, I'll think she'll be top 5 for sure, like
Yeah,
percentage wise,
yeah.
definitely.
But yeah, no, I
I got
totally
you.
agree.
Yeah.
Like AZ is really top five, and hopefully next year we'll see who will go up against AZ in the 3-point competition.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, 90. She definitely was over 90% free throw percentage. I have a question for you. So Sabrina, so if we're thinking, this is the last point
Mm.
again, but if we're talking Sabs versus AZ, who do you think's gonna take it? Sabrina, knowing Sabrina has the record, I think she had
Ah.
37, so she has the all-time record. Do you think next year it should be we should bring Sabs back for next year?
Oh yeah, for sure. And the W needs to do better of requesting people to be in that competition.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if it was against AZ and Sab, I might go Sab. So
Yeah.
I would love to see that matchup.
I was just like watching highlights. I don't know why I was watching highlights, but like when Sabrina did it, I was like, wow, she was just like on fire. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like didn't miss. I mean, AZ almost got to that too as well. Like 30 is impressive. It's not impressive,
Yeah.
but yeah. So that closes up that discussion.
Yeah. Moving on, we're moving to the All-Stars game winners. Yeah, Teaspoon defeating Team Coop, 120 to 122.
I know that's a mouthful. I think the biggest surprise for me was Jonquel Jones being named All-Star Game MVP. I know we definitely did not pick her last week, but she finished with 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists, just 2 assists shy of a triple double. And then she came off the bench as well. She wasn't voted a starter.
Yeah, for sure. Like she really controlled the glass. Like she created a lot of opportunities for her teammates and showed a lot of parts of her game. She's an underdog that I guess we didn't think about as much.
Mm.
So shout out to JJ. She really did her thing.
Yeah, and I thought this was like an amazing stat. Sometimes with stats, I'm like, this is like the most outrageous stat. Who thinks of it? But I thought this was a cool one. She's the only player to have a WNBA regular season MVP, a Finals MVP, and then a Commissioner's Cup MVP as well. And so add that to the All-Star MVP to the list. That's a loaded resume right there.
For sure. Yeah, like I was saying, she doesn't really get enough recognition. Do you think so?
Oh no, definitely not. I think she gets overshadowed a bit being on the Liberty because you have the big names in Stewie and Sabrina Ionescu up
Mm-hmm.
there. I don't know, and I think she's just a quiet player, like goes about her business. You don't hear a lot about her in the press conferences, and she's like usually a double each night. So, what do you think, like as far as like placing her among the best players of this current league? What do you think?
Yeah, I think she really is one of the best players of the league, especially defensively. Even watching her play with the Liberty, like I always say that they're a very tight-knit team that have played together for a very long time. So they kind of move like a wave. They're all in sync at one time, and she's part of the reason why they're able to do that. She's strong. She might not be the fastest, but she can get to her spot, and when she does, she can make the shot and score. So definitely think JJ will always be remembered as best WNBA players or that we've seen when that time comes and she retires.
So there was also several other players that made statements. We had Alicia Gray with 19 points, Caitlin scored 17, and of course Olivia Miles gave us one of the most balanced performances of the night.
Yes, Olivia, of course, Olivia the dog, baby Chelsea Gray. She finished with 11 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists, and she became the third rookie to register a double-double in a WNBA All-Star game.
It's just, I love that you said baby Chelsea Gray. That's like a great word for, not great, I guess analogy for her, or I should say comparison for her. Like Chelsea Gray, she's got that swag. Olivia Miles now has that swag. So great point you bring up with that.
The thing about Olivia, and we'll never get sick of talking about Olivia, is that she just flowed so naturally in this rookie class and just her team, and so immediately she was an all-star. I don't think there's not a losing team with Olivia, if you ask me.
Oh, definitely. Like she doesn't force the game, but she finds way to affect it through her scoring, her rebounding, and her passing. Of course, I think the passing is the highlight reel. Definitely behind the leg, through the leg. I think in the All-Star game, no, maybe it was the game against the Fever, like a ridiculous pass, like behind her back through her legs. I was like, this is crazy.
Yes. That was a crazy play. I was like, no way she just did that.
So do you think she secured, like based on the All-Star game and her first half performance and how she played against the Fever, do you think she's already secured the Rookie of the Year?
Hands down. I don't know who else would. Hands down. So we're gonna move on to Nneka Nwumike. She made All-Star game history. All right, during her 11th All-Star appearance. That's a lot. She scored 8 points in the first half and became the WNBA All-Star Game's all-time leading scorer, passing the one and only Maya Moore.
Yeah, I know we said we were going to do like an in-depth breakdown of the All-Star. There just is so many great talking points, and this is another one. Nneka Ogwumike, the Prez, she made her 11th All-Star appearances, which it just shows how consistent has been throughout her career. To make 11, that's unbelievable. And I think she's played like maybe 12 or 13 seasons. We're not talking like we're not talking 20 seasons she's played. Like 11 of her, I'll have to look up that stat, but I want to say 11 of 14 seasons, which is like unbelievable, So.
Yeah, she's great. And yeah, lots of big moments in the All-Star stuff, in the All-Star games. So we're going to move on to one of the biggest highlights of the night, Dominique Malanga's dunk.
Yes. Then we got, like Katia said, one of the loudest and biggest moments of the weekend. Dominique Malanga threw down a dunk on the pass from Angel Reese. And the highlight for me with that was just how excited Angel Reese was when she passed it, and just like the anticipation of the dunk going down.
Yeah, the backstory, everyone's been asking Dom to dunk, and she said, one day I will, one day I will. So it was just fun to watch her have fun and play around.
Yeah, same. I didn't realize that. I knew Lisa Leslie. I feel like that was my childhood seeing her dunk. But also Brittany Griner and Jonquel Jones are among the other players that have dunked in the WNBA All-Star game. Yeah, I just think like this is so natural for her. I know we were talking about this pre-show about her, will dunking become like a natural thing for her? But I think it just is going to become a part of her game, because I think it just like with ease. It's not like she just goes up, and we saw it. Didn't we see it on Unrivaled? She dunked too. Yeah, like with the Young and Turnt crew, the Youngins, right? But yeah, that was in Unrivaled. We saw it a couple times, her dunk as well. So if she gets the open space, open lane, she's going to throw it down.
Yeah. Sure. So just to hype that up even more, the attendance for the All-Star game was super, super high, with 19,793 fans in the stands. So it was epic in there.
They had more attendance than the NBA All-Star game this year by over 4,000 fans. I don't know what the NBA is doing, but the women are dominating attendance right now with fans coming out. And so that was fun to see that we had more fans than the NBA this year, for sure.
And like, what are you looking forward to seeing next year in the All-Star games? I know people are always saying that the women play around too much. They don't take it seriously. Should they compete more? Like, what do you think?
I mean, you don't want anyone to get injured. So like for them to go full force at 100%, I think is not called for. It's like, they got to take it easy. I thought it was funny when I was watching it, Paige didn't have like her knee pads on. So I was like, oh, this girl's not taking it. Like, she's going to take it easy. Like, she doesn't have her Jordan knee pads that she pulls up. But you can't expect them to go all out. I did like the year, and I don't know which year it was, when they went against the Olympic team. Was that 2 years ago? I thought that made it more competitive. But then you also don't want players getting hurt. It's like for fun. They're also partying all weekend. So I don't expect them to go all out.
Neither do I. It's supposed to be fun. Of course, you still want to win and taunt your coach like Asia did to Becky, but just chill. It's supposed to be a break. Come on, just chill, have fun, lay back.
I love Asia Wilson. She just like is a walking meme, like her facial expressions and whatnot, and like her taunting Becky was great. So that wraps up our All-Star conversation. Like, great weekend. Let's not forget the Stud Buds, live stream for 72 hours. There were some moments from that, but we won't touch upon that. You guys, like, I'm sure you guys have seen it all over social media. But the biggest news I want to say, like, and this could have probably topped our 5 stories, was the Los Angeles Sparks traded Kelsey Plum to the Phoenix Mercury.
Yeah, I was really shocked about that. I saw that in the middle of the night, but it seems like she wasn't really happy in the Sparks. I don't know what was going on in the back end, but we do know that Kelsey was only going to be with the Sparks for a year. And if I'm not mistaken, her contract now with Phoenix is a year as well.
Yeah, you're right on the part. She signed a 1 year. It was like $999,000, like $1 short of $1 million. And a fan gave her $1. I don't know if you remember that clip, but yeah, so basically what's happening is Phoenix will pay the rest of her contract, and then it expires the rest of the year. It expires at the end of the year, and then she'll go into free agency. So she can choose to stay with Phoenix, or they're going to have to re-sign her or go elsewhere. I found this interesting. I heard Sue Bird say this on a broadcast that Kelsey had looked at Phoenix at one point last year or a couple years
Mm.
ago when she was up for free agency. So I think all in all, I think all in all, this is saying that the Sparks are definitely officially rebuilding. What do you think? Because they're like offloading a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely rebuilding. I saw that NECA wasn't. She was happy for Kelsey, but it means a lot for Kelsey to leave. The Sparks. She was kind of holding it up as much as she could. Um, but I mean, this is the time to do that. This is the time to rebuild. Seattle's also doing the same thing. So, it can only get better from here. And then all that to say, they're looking at different contenders moving forward. Like who are they gonna draft next? Are they looking at Juju Watkins? I wouldn't have put Juju Watkins in LA, but who knows? It's gonna be very interesting for the next draft season.
Yeah, I think her being with USC and playing college ball in the Los Angeles area, I said probably most likely wants to land in LA, but then again, it's like where you land, right? You can't kind of control the draft picks or like the draft lottery. So LA has an early draft pick, but doesn't mean they'll have the number one pick where they can choose Juju, I would think Juju will go number one next year. Or is Hannah Hidalgo is a junior, right? So she still has another year. But I think there's some other great options, but most likely I believe Juju will go one for sure. Now, do you think for Phoenix, this is a good fit for Kelsey Plum? Or excuse me, do you think Phoenix is a good fit for Kelsey?
Now, at first, it was questionable, but I see why they made that change. Kelsey gives them another player who can create up the dribble, read the defense, and she can really make her own shot. Even seeing her in the game that she recently just played, I guess off the bench, she was immediately impactful. Kind of was solo playing a little bit, kind of like buffing up her chest, and I could tell maybe the vets are like, okay, we have a beast. And Kalia Copper even said, "I'm glad I don't have to play against Kelsey anymore, and she's on our team." So she's bringing a new momentum, a new energy to the team, and we've seen Phoenix struggle this entire season. So just having Kelsey there as a bigger having a bigger role, I think we can see Phoenix maybe not be contenders for like the finals, but add some more momentum to the team and the morale.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I agree. And I think just her playmaking ability, her leadership, and just the way she's able to create space off the dribble and just through screens. It's like I was watching a little bit the other night, and she just does a fancy step back three, swishes it in over Cardoza, which I thought was impressive. Cardoza's 6'5",
and she's so little.
So you saw already her immediate impact where they defeated Chicago 106-101. I also think it's now makes an interesting. I know the Mystics are playing so well, so they're on a 4-game winning streak, but I think it makes the last spot an interesting, last playoff spot an interesting fight now. And then also I was thinking about this, being her surrounded with Alyssa Thomas, Dewana Bonner, and Kalia Copper. Copper had 31 points the other night. She's playing on another level too. It just kind of Phoenix could come out of nowhere. What do you think? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a maybe, but they are a strong team. It's just more about what they do they want to be there? I know DB was saying she's I don't know if this will be my last year, and she is the most winningest player in the entire WNBA over I believe Sue Bird, and I'm missing someone else. I just saw it earlier. So it's a matter of that. Maybe this is something that another person on their team that they really needed to like I said, push the morale. AT finished with 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, another triple double. So with all of them working together as one, I think we can see maybe a dark horse come out of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a long shot. I was looking at the standings today, and I was getting excited the other day because the broadcasters were oh, now they could make a run for the last playoff spot. And then I looked today, and the Mystics are kind of well ahead, and they're playing super well. And so I don't know. I think in the end, I could see them going on a run, 6 straight, 7 straight, but I think they're going to end up missing out for that last playoff spot, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and I think that's fine as long as they finish strong and know what they need to do for the next season. I think they'll be okay.
Definitely. I think that sums up that story pretty well.
All right, moving on to another game of the week. The Fever versus the Lynx. What a game. The Lynx won 108-100 and extended their winning streak to 10 straight winning games. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, we saw all 5 Minnesota starters finish in double figures. Also, Courtney Williams and Olivia Miles combined for 55 points.
Of course, the dynamic duo. Olivia had 23 points at halftime while shooting 10 for 12 from the field and 3 for 5 from the three. And she finished the game with 28 points, 6 assists. So always incredible numbers from Olivia. It was a tough matchup in that game.
Yeah, Courtney Williams added 27 points. I was able to watch some of it, and like I saw the Instagram posts. And it was funny because I was like, whoa, she had like 23 at halftime, like ridiculous triple double numbers. And then I don't want to say she like finished slow, but then she only ended up with 28 points and 6 total assists. But I was like, oh, like her and Kelsey Mitchell were going back and forth, and I was like, these two are gonna go for like 50 points each. You know, it was like that kind of excitement. And then you just saw that Minnesota's backcourt controlled the game.
Yeah, like they're incredibly hard to defend your team around just stopping one player and their shooting capability, like on the offense. Like you have to defend multiple people who can also score. You have to defend Courtney Williams. You have to defend Olivia Miles, which is one of the toughest. Fee, Kayla McBride. Like it's really hard to do all that while making your shot. And they did an excellent job of facilitating that game the entire time.
Yeah, I think you summarized it pretty well. That basically is all the reasons why Minnesota has that 10-game winning streak. Like if you put a stop to Olivia, but then you have to stop Fee, then you have to stop McBride, or Courtney Williams can go off for 30. It's a crazy situation there. Do you think it is their depth, their guard play, or the consistency of the entire starting lineup that is making Minnesota successful?
I think they're just a triple threat. It's all of it. I mean, it's all of it. It's how they came into play. They're all fired up off of everything, off of like wanting to beat this team. Olivia loves Kelsey so much. She was the biggest, person that stood out to me. I think AB wasn't really there. Aaliyah Boston wasn't really there. Caitlin was there, but she's not hard to defend if you're on a Lynx. So I think it's all of it together. And then once they got into their bag, they were just unstoppable. Plus, they had home court advantage. So you have your fans like cheering you on and amping you up.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think Minnesota's just like such a well-rounded team. Then you get feedback. They're already we've already talked about this, like dominating the season to begin with. But then you get feedback. You have now 5 starters that can score in double figures, and they're just dangerous. I still want to say, they're definitely a final. I want to say they're a finals favorite. I don't know who's going to dethrone them. I don't know. Honestly, I could see the Aces dethroning them again, or I don't know. Or I wouldn't mind a Fever versus Minnesota showdown as well.
Ooh.
And Katia, why don't you talk about Kelsey Mitchell? Because I know Kelsey Mitchell.
Yes, Kelsey Mitchell is on a historic scoring run right now. And let's give it up for her really quick because she's also getting her PhD right now, which is I cannot believe she's doing that. She must I think it was, I don't know if it was Caitlin that said she'll open her laptop after the game and submit like a paper or start working on something, which is insane. She just like locks out. Kelsey Mitchell is incredible. She finished that game with a game high of 37 points, shot 6 from 8 from 3. It's just crazy to see how her mentality works, her speed, her execution. It's very hard to keep up with her. Even Olivia said that was her welcome to the league moment. So props to Kelsey Mitchell.
Yeah, she's a dog, Kelsey Mitchell. And I would best describe her as like a silent assassin. She just like shows up and then like kills you every time, shot after shot. And like I love her little lefty. She's got a little swag too. I love a little swag to a player. That also gave her 14 consecutive games with at least 20 points. I know we were touching upon this last week, but that moved her past Diana Taurasi for the most consecutive 20-point performances. Now, my biggest question for you, and I know I asked you this the other day, do you think she has after this past performance, do you think she has a good shot at the MVP?
She should. She absolutely should have a shot at MVP. I think if we're opening up the floor and giving opportunity to other people based on scoring, based on play, based on leading and building a team, Kelsey Mitchell has done that from the beginning of this W season, and I would love to see her become MVP.
Oh, me too, definitely. I think she's utmost deserving. I think if she continues her streak, gets to 20, 25 games straight of 20-point performances, how do you not give it to her?
Hmm.
Also, do you think, this is another like maybe controversial question, but do you think she gets overlooked because she plays next to Caitlin Clark?
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's no doubt about it. Just marketing wise, they're marketing Caitlin Clark, so
Mm.
they're not really looking at the other teams. They consider everyone else around Caitlin role players, but sometimes Caitlin is the role player for them. Caitlin can't do what AV does. She can't do what Kelsey does necessarily, but that's the point of working with a team. You kind of just play all together and you find your weaknesses when someone's falling short, get to the basket. Like Lexi Hall is there. Like you kind of play off each other. The bench is there. Like all of them working together to kind of make that happen is more important. So she does get overlooked, unfortunately, but she's a star in my eyes.
Oh, such a star. And I think she's finally getting recognition, like not as much as I think she should be getting. I think like you brought up great points, like bigger names getting recognition, some people stealing the spotlight, like Sophie Cunningham or like even Lexi Hall a little bit. Like you have these names that are kind of making headlines in the news sometimes
Mm.
too. And then she just, like I said, quiet assassin, goes about, shows up, does her job, leaves, goes home. The other day was cute. I came across like a TikTok with her and her boyfriend, and it was like so
Yeah.
adorable. And I'm like, she has like a little bit of a personality that doesn't get shown out there because she's very like stoic, like keeps a straight face, like keeps like a serious face when she's in the game,
Mhm.
and but it was cute like seeing that TikTok. But yeah, I mean she's just bringing all these big numbers, like you can't like dispute that.
Yeah. Yeah, she's all about the game.
That ends story number 3. On to story number 4. We're going to talk about the Aces bouncing back from their Chicago buzzer beater, but I know, Katia, you definitely wanted to highlight Sydney Taylor's game-winning 3 on Saturday versus the Aces.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite games to watch. Extremely dramatic because they were very close throughout the entire game, with the Aces down at some points, Chicago down at some points, and then all in all they ended 84-83. Sydney Taylor hit the game-winning three-pointer with 0.9 seconds remaining, and that is so crazy to me because it's true when people say the game isn't over until the clock is 0. So just watching her do that and just knowing her story about being undrafted in 2023, playing overseas in Poland, and she's the one that's coming out as like this like dark horse. It was
Mhm.
just amazing to see, and that's what good basketball is all about.
Yeah, I love a good underdog story. Like you said, undrafted. This is technically her rookie year. So, I mean, who knows? She could be rookie of the year, right? And she played in just 30, or she played 30 minutes and finished with 29 points. Talk about efficiency. Shot 40.7 from the field and 45.5% from 3 as well. So, how good is Sydney Taylor, Katia?
I think people don't pay attention to her game as much as they should be. I think at some point she might not be as consistent in games, but if you look at her stats, I think she averages around like 19, sometimes 20 points, 24, all in all. So she's a good, well-rounded player.
Mhm.
She's very athletic. She's a very great defensive player, but just having her on the offense clearly has made a huge difference in Chicago while she's alongside Cloud and Carrington now that she's back. So it makes a huge difference. And I also want to highlight very quickly, this game would not have been possible without Camila Cardoza either. While she doesn't have the highest scores, she was incredible in the post, and they all worked together so well, and their synergy was amazing.
Yeah, I loved also the excitement from the bench, the Chicago bench, just like, so like amped for Sydney when she made that shot, like pretty much almost rushed the court, but there was still 0.9 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, we'll touch on this point. Also, like Asia made a layup right before that. Like, so like it almost seemed like, Vegas was going to seal the deal. But then, and you have Asia finishing, which I told you about before the start of this, 36 points. So again, she's having like an MVP type season again. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time. I think when Cloud passed her the ball, she said they talked to Sydney said they talked about it, and she was already in such a great flow. They're like, "You're going to be the one to shoot this," and she said, "I had no idea where I was. I just threw
Yeah.
it and it went in." So what a great moment.
Yeah, and then we saw the Aces like bounce back in the Atlantic Dream game. So they went on to blow out the Dream 109-87. I pretty much watched the entire game. At one point it was close within the first 2 quarters, and then it just then excuse me, Vegas was like clicking on all cylinders. You had the big three that we like acknowledged a lot of the times, but I wanted to highlight Melissa Smith. Like, she finished with 18 points and 4 rebounds. She's also having one of the best years of her career, if not the best. Do you think the Aces are like not necessarily a championship favorite, but like a finals favorite?
Yeah, I think they're a finals favorite, but they have to toughen up and not have that idea going in, which I'm sure they already know that they're going to win this all the way. They have some really tough competition moving forward. They've always had, but it just depends on the night. And we've seen how teams that were ranked lower than the Aces have beat the Aces at this point. So it's all about them being consistent through the games and just following through and hoping that it's their best night.
Yeah, now my last question on the Aces train. Do you think that Jackie Young is still underrated? Do you think she gets her, I guess this is two questions I'm saying. Do you think she gets her flowers considering she's like, kind of not overshadowed, but maybe overshadowed by Asia Wilson a bit?
Um, I think Jackie does get her flowers, honestly, because when we think about the Aces, we think about the triple threat, which is Asia, Chelsea, Jackie. You can't talk about the Aces without those three. And even in that game, Jackie, she had a triple double with 23 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. And this is something that she might not do on every single game night, but when she shows up, she shows up. Even with Asia going on the bench or people getting out the game. So I think Jackie's gotten her flowers. Does she need to step up at times? Yes, and make her presence known? Absolutely. But all in all, she's a dog to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with a lot you said. I think at times they were saying in the broadcast that like the first time versus Dream, I think she had no points or like very low production from her. So then you see the difference. She has 28 points and they like route the Dream, which they were like, in Dream in the beginning of the season, I think were favorites to go to the finals, if not win. So you see like that impact when she is consistent. But I do think at times I feel like I watch games where like Jackie's like on fire, then the next game it's a little bit of a dip. So yeah, I think more like they definitely the Aces. I think to be a strong contender in the playoffs need Jackie to be consistent for sure.
Yeah.
I think that summed it up with I think that summed up enough about the Aces. But I think we also wanted to touch upon other notable wins. So we had the Dallas Wings defeat Connecticut 83-63, and that snapped a 2-game losing streak for the Wings.
Yeah, Dallas definitely needed that response after dropping 2 games straight. The Wings have kind of shown through the season that they can respond after disappointing losses, and we've seen how Dallas needs to get better, where they need to get better. The question is whether they can consistently maintain that level of play. So yeah, like we've seen them be inconsistent. I texted you the other day. I was like, Shep can't be point guard. Paige needs to be unhumble. Enrique needs to throw the ball to someone else. AZ specifically.
No, that was like your point. Your texting points were like spot on. Yeah, at times, that's my biggest gripe with Enrique is like she doesn't pass. Like her production has been off the charts lately. There's at times where I watch the games and I've already expressed this to you is like they run a play, AZ gets a shot, she makes it. Then the next time down the floor, it almost seems like they start the play. Enrique disrupts it by just like doing whatever with the ball and driving to the hoop and trying to score. And she usually does, but it's like almost like she's disrupting what Jose is trying to do almost. I don't know. So yeah, I think that's my point on Enrique. And not to knock her, but she was a big part of those 2 losses. And I know Fatima was watching your sister. So the Wings has a new fan in your sister.
Yeah. Yeah, what a game though. But when Dallas is consistent and when they do play as a team, they can be unstoppable. But when they don't, it's almost very obvious, even if you've never watched a basketball game in your life.
Now, yeah, just touching upon this last, like the 5th topic for us, we do have like a little bit of bonus, but now we had the tempo. They had a trade as well. Anise Morrow was traded from the Connecticut Sun to the tempo. Do you think she'll have as much of an impact as Plum will have with Phoenix, or a bigger impact? Or do you think almost it's like too late for Toronto in the season to even like make a push for the playoffs?
It might be too late for Toronto, but she'll still make a huge impact. I think Anise Amar was highly underused in Connecticut, but Connecticut's going through so many changes. Amar will give Toronto like another young rebounder without forcing them to give up someone who was currently playing in their rotation. I think she is extremely athletic. Have you seen her six pack? It's like washboard. um, she is super fast. I would love to see how Toronto uses her with Brittany and Marina in their rotation, but as a contender for the playoffs, no. But that's okay. Like it takes time to build these things into a system.
No, it's funny you brought up the six pack comment because I was exactly going to say the same thing about like, man, that girl, every time she posts on TikTok, it's like her abs are so defined and people are like, drop your ab routine. Yeah, whatever her ab routine is or whatever she's eating, like, yeah, give us their secret. Cause yeah, I definitely want that ab routine. So yeah, she'll make an impact and I can see the future bright with Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them next season. It's a shame that Brittany Sykes has been out majority of the season and her and Marina were off to such a fast start. And then bringing in Morrow, I thought that would have been just like a great three, like another big three, similar to like the Aces. Yeah. But like we haven't really been able to see Toronto at full force. So next year, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think this year they'll miss the playoffs. Unfortunately, our Jersey girl will be out. But
I was gonna ask you. Do you see her becoming a long-term piece for Toronto?
Morrow or Mabry? Morrow. Yeah, I think so. I think in the end, like trades when they happen, whether it's in baseball or basketball, the idea I would think with the team getting the trade or getting that piece for them that they're thinking long term, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes they're thinking short term with wanting to win a championship, and maybe that missing piece is Morrow or Plum. So I don't know. I actually think with both of these trades, I predict them both signing with those teams next year. I have a good feeling. So I think Copper and Plum are friendly. And then you saw like the big welcoming committee at the hotel for Plum. So I think long-term she'll end up signing there. But yeah, I think in short term this year, I think Plum had the bigger trade, was the bigger news, and she'll have the bigger impact for sure.
All right, moving on to our next segment, one of our faves, Six Women of the Week. And during this segment, we recognize a player who brings a mad energy, production, momentum to the team, and that we just want to highlight and give them their flowers for the week. So who do you have today, Megan?
So today I have Nalissa Smith. I feel like at times I don't give her enough credit, or I kind of like not. I don't want to.
We rag on her a lot.
I criticize her game at times. She has a funky free throw shot. Not like, she's in that natural like shooting shot or natural shot like AZ has. But I will say, I think honestly she's the key to the Aces winning down the road, like making a strong push in the playoffs, because it seems as though like me quickly diving into like when the Aces win, she's always in double figures. When they lose, she's usually scoring in single digits. So that was my quick research today, was like, I was like, oh, most of the time when she like scores in double figures, they win. So that's like a true, I think, six women like right there. It's like she gives them the extra push. So I'll give Nalissa the flowers she finally deserves. She is having the best season of her career for sure too.
Yeah, for sure. Just watching those games, I was like, yeah, she's in her bag. And my six woman of the week, I was gonna pick Sydney Taylor, but I have a swap. Ding 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 ding. I have a swap. Because we've already talked about Sydney. So my sixth woman of the week is Carla Late. She plays for the Portland Fire. They came up Portland came up short against the Los Angeles Sparks, but she delivered a super strong all-around performance with 21 points and 8 assists in just 27 minutes. She shot 46.7 from the field. She made every single three-pointer she attempted. And she was perfect from the free throw line. So I think she puts up incredible numbers. She's only, I think, like 5'10", 5'11". But she was doing a lot of playmaking. And, with playmaking comes a few turnovers. She had a few, like 4 of them. But she was really the one that was driving the ball up the court. She was able to, like, attack the defense. She made efficient shots and kept her teammates super locked in. She's really, really sharp, and she's fast, and she plays down low. So it's hard to kind of like get around her if you're a big or anything. So I think she was extremely confident in that game. It's just a matter of, scoring and everyone else pulling their weight. But at some point it was kind of like, give Carla the ball. And so she's my sixth woman of the week. Definitely check out her game more.
Yeah, I like that pick because I was watching one of the games and she did like really cool pass. So she's kind of got that like playmaking ability, like an Olivia Miles, to kind of have that fancy around the back between the legs, or just find the, the cutter to the basket. So
Mm-hmm.
that was neat to see. And so I really did like your pick there, like coming out. Well, I got to watch some more of the Fire games. I feel like at times I don't know if you're like this, but you just pay attention more to like the bigger teams, like the
Mm-hmm.
Wings or the Aces or the Liberty, and then like the Fire. Like Tempo, we pay attention because of Marina, but Portland has a good team too. I'm like, I think
Mm-hmm.
just like maybe next year, like I could see more of the Toronto and Portland really like stepping up next year, like getting more of that momentum into 2027.
Oh, for sure. So for today's jump ball, our question is, will Kathy Engelbert still be commissioner in 2027?
I'll argue yes. I'll argue yes.
Okay.
But I know it's gonna be no. All right, I will pick. So today I'll pick yes, and Katia is gonna go with no. So I'll let Katia start off with the no part of the segment, and you got a minute on the clock here, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
So
Yeah.
I say Kathy will not be the commissioner next year because a lot of she does not have a really good relationship with the players. Now, even though she was great for the business, I think it's time for them to move on from Kathy. I think stakeholders realize that while the business grows, they don't know how she's going to navigate other demands that the league is facing. And I don't know if it's enough to keep her in her position. But I'm also thinking, who else do you put there? I don't think she'll be there also because Kathy fails to address certain things publicly, and maybe that's part of her job from her big bosses. But just as a human being, as a woman who's running a women's league, I want to see someone else come in and take that spot.
All good points. Yeah, no, that all makes sense. So I'm gonna go with yes, and this is the reason behind it. It's gonna be a yes for next year. I just don't think that you can. I think you just can't question what she has done for the business of growing the WNBA the last couple years. So you see now national television games on Ion and USA Network, whereas before they were like never on. You couldn't find the channel, or they were on like WNBA TV or NBA TV. Like, why were we putting on those games? But so I think with that point, the business growth. 2, I don't know if there's any really candidates they have in mind to fill the position quite yet. 3, I haven't heard that Adam Silver is not backing her as WNBA commissioner and he's her boss. So we'll see. But I do lean towards what you're saying, Katia, is that if the players aren't behind her, you can't continue to have her in this position.
Ooh, with 10 seconds to spare. Let us know what you guys think below. Do you think Kathy will still be the WNBA commissioner when the 2027 season begins, or will they give her the boot?
On to the next segment is our scouting report. So we have some games on the docket tonight. We have the Mercury versus the Dream, Storm versus Liberty, Wings versus Mystics, Sparks versus the Sky. And again, scheduling conflict, I saw that like 3 games are on at 7 or 7:30, the first 3 games there. So I'm like, what game do I watch? I did buy the WNBA TV package. And then Thursday night, you have the Aces versus the Fever, the Sparks versus the Lynx, Tempo versus the Fire. So again, this is our scouting report. Katia, what do you think are going to be the biggest names to come out of these games, or which game is sparking the most interest for you right now?
I think the game I'm most interested in watching is Aces versus Fever, and then Sparks versus the Lynx. How about you?
Let's see. First glance at this, definitely I'm curious on when the Mercury's next game is. Did I say the Mercury yet? Oh, Mercury versus Dream tonight. I'm curious about that game because obviously Plum, I'm a big Kelsey Plum fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think her impact is immediate. Obviously, we talked about that already. I do think the Dream, I don't want to say this, this might be a hot take, trending in the wrong direction. I think the other night, like they got blown out by over 20 points against the Aces. I know the Aces, we say, are championship contender. But yeah, I think there's just some disconnectivity I see between the players right now on that team. If I had to pick a second game, it would be like the Aces versus Fever for tomorrow. That's always like a highlight reel, I feel like, from that game between like Asia and Caitlin and our girl Kelsey. So I'm excited to see. I'm definitely glued. I love when a player, I don't know if you're like this, I love when a player has a chance to like make history. So
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey obviously is like has a chance to like break Asia's record of 20 straight games
Yeah.
with 20 points of more in a game. So I'm like definitely going to be glued in going forward for her. And now that I've seen her little cute TikTok, I'm even a bigger fan. So yeah, those 2 games for me. Sorry, I went on a lot, but definitely those 2 games.
No, great lineup, great matchups coming up. Everyone is getting playoff ready, so lots of energy there.
So outside the paint, we highlight a story usually outside of the WNBA, not necessarily, but this week both of us are going to highlight a story from outside the WNBA. My story is highlighting the Women's Professional Baseball League. I know I brought this up a couple weeks ago about them starting on Saturday. So they had their first game on Saturday, and the first home run happened, which is exciting. I know I like hate the comparisons in the women and men's game with basketball. It's like, oh, the women can't dunk, blah blah blah. But now you see women dunking, and I was just waiting. I was saying to Kati this before. I'm like, is this going to be the same discussion with home runs? Like, oh, women can't hit home runs. But I digress. But anyway, Danae Benitez from the New York Heights local team here. She hit the first home run for the league against the Los Angeles Queens. Unfortunately, they lost 10-8, and the Queens came back from 4 down to claim the victory. So definitely exciting. We have new baseball league, new professional women's sports team to watch. So what about you, Katia? What's your story you got for us?
That's awesome. Women can make home runs. Thank you.
Yeah.
My outside the paint moment is Alexandra Iela makes tennis history. Iela became the first player from the Philippines to win a WTA Tour singles title after defeating top-seeded Jessica Peluga at the Washington Open. So shout out to her. She dropped the first set but came back to win 4-6, 6-4, and 6-0, and she completely took over control at the end of the match and won the final 9 games. So it's always great to see women, especially minority women, defeat and dominate these games. So very excited. As someone who doesn't often watch tennis, hearing news about other women making moves in different sports is always amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm sure we'll see her coming up in the US Open, the end of August too. That's always an exciting 2 weeks in the New York area as well. That wraps us up. That is all we have for this week's episode of Buckets and Besties.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can listen to Buckets and Besties on YouTube and follow us on all of our social media channels.
We will see you next time.
Bye, besties.